Hi everyone, and welcome to the next episode in our Outfit Studio tutorial series. Our last video about NIFs ended with a list of unbreakable rules for creating size 0 and size 1 NIFs that support weight sliding in the game. One of these rules is that the meshes for each size must have exactly the same number of vertices. And this can be tricky to achieve when you want to delete vertices from a mesh. It's fine if you are deleting something that is perfectly delineated using the A and D Smart Select keys, like the pouches we deleted in video number 5. However, it's pretty difficult when you can't do that. You have to be sure that you are selecting and deleting exactly the same vertices in both size meshes, and it's not always obvious how to achieve this just by eye. So I'm going to show you a little trick using the masking tool in Outfit Studio. We can select the vertices we want to delete, save this as a mask, and then reapply the mask to the other size mesh to ensure that we've picked exactly the same vertices to change in both. Here are the steps we are going to work through in this video. You can skip to a specific step using either the video chapters or timestamps in the description. This is going to be a video for beginners. I will assume that you don't know much about using masks in Outfit Studio yet, so I will be going slow and explaining in detail. If that's not what you're looking for, then this video is probably not for you. We are going to work through the entire process from start to finish, including having a look at our work in the game. So this is going to be a fairly long video in order to cover all of the steps. Feel free to take breaks as needed and use the chapters or timestamps to pick up where you left off. Having the ability to save and reapply a mask in Outfit Studio is a great feature, and it makes our life much easier. But there are 3 requirements for making this work. First, the 2 meshes must already have the same number and order of vertices. Second, the mesh names have to match. And third, you can't unload the project or close Outfit Studio until both size NIFs have been completed and exported because masks are not saved between sessions. Assuming you are working with an existing outfit that weight slides normally in the game, requirement number 1 should already be met. If the size 0 and size 1 meshes do not have the same number and order of vertices, then you will see weird things happen at middle body weights in the game. So don't try to use meshes like that for this exercise. Requirements number 2 and number 3 are things that we will make happen as we do this little trick. Keep watching to see how this is done. I'm going to demonstrate this trick using the pants from the demo mod. If you'd like to follow along with me, head over to the Nexus to download the Simply for Practice mod linked in the description. Install and activate as you would any other mod. We are going to use the demo pants from the tutorial mod to practice this method. Let's first get the size 0 pants ready. I'm going to use the one that we fixed in our second video on clipping. But it doesn't really matter which version you choose. Just be aware that if you use the original mesh, you're going to see skin clipping through the pants when you start testing in the game. Load the pants_0 NIF into Outfit Studio. Then select only the pants mesh, not the leg band, on the right-hand side. We are going to temporarily rename this mesh to just pants. Right-click on it in the right-hand pane, select Rename, then type pants into this box and hit OK. With our mesh temporarily renamed to just pants, we're now going to select the vertices that we want to delete. We will be using the masking tool in Outfit Studio for this. Make sure the pencil is on so you can see the vertices. Click on the masking button up here, and then toggle the Mirror Edits button on so we can mask both sides of the pants simultaneously. There are different ways to go about selecting vertices in Outfit Studio. I like to mask them first and then invert the mask, but you can do this part however you like best. The end goal is to have vertices that you want to delete colored in green, meaning they're selected, and those that you want to stay colored in red, meaning they are deselected. To do this my way, make sure you have only the pants mesh selected in the right-hand pane, and then brush over it to mask the vertices you want to delete. They will turn red as they are masked. I suggest turning on the wireframe view for the leg band so you can see through it. Just make sure that only the pants mesh is selected before you continue masking. Mask all of the vertices that you want to delete. I'm going to go right up to the bottom of this leg band. If you go too far and want to remove the mask from some vertices, you can hold down Alt and use the brush to remove the mask from specific areas. If you're doing this my way, then once you have masked all the pants vertices you want to delete, we have to invert the mask. Because remember that red or masked vertices are actually deselected, meaning they are hidden, while green vertices are selected and will be affected. So we can't delete the vertices just yet, or we will be eliminating the top part of the pants that is all colored green. First, we need to invert our selection. Come up here to the top, select Tool, and then select Invert Mask. You can also use the hotkeys Ctrl+I to do the same thing. Now the vertices we want to delete should be green, and the ones that stay should be red. With the correct vertices selected and deselected, we are going to save the mask so we can apply it to the other size pants mesh. Click down here on the little arrow next to Mask, then hit Save As and type a name into the box. The name doesn't matter too much since it will be gone once we unload this project. I'm going to call mine Pants Zap and then hit OK. If you decide to add or remove any vertices from the mask at this point, you can just resave it with the same name by clicking Save, or you can save it as a different mask by hitting Save As and giving the new version a different name. Now you can see that when I select the saved mask name here, it will apply that particular mask to the mesh. One very important point to make here: if you change the mask during this step or the next one, be sure to save the final version of the mask so we can apply an identical one to the other size mesh. Alright, now that we have masked the vertices that we want to keep and we have saved the mask, it's time to go ahead and delete these green vertices. Click on Shape, select Delete Vertices, and poof! We now have some shorts. Turn the leg band back to solid view if you don't already have it there, and rotate around to see how things look. If you don't like the way it worked out, meaning that you either deleted too many vertices or not enough of them, then hit the Undo button. Mask or unmask more vertices, depending on what you want to change, and then be sure to save the mask again. You can either overwrite the old one using Save, or save it as a new mask with Save As. You can keep going back and forth deleting vertices, undoing, and adjusting the mask until you are happy with the results. Just be 100% sure you have saved the final mask so you can apply it to the other size mesh. If you end up with too many saved masks and it gets confusing, then you can select each one that you don't want and hit the Delete key here to remove them from the list. Clear the masking from this mesh once you are done by going to Tool and selecting Clear Mask, or hitting Ctrl+A as a shortcut. After you are happy with your results for the size 0 pants, and you've ensured that the final mask was saved, it's time to export this as a new NIF. It's not absolutely necessary, but I like to revert the zapped mesh back to its original name before I export. With one last warning here before we do that, to be absolutely certain you have saved the final mask while the mesh still has its temporary name. Let's revert the name of the pants mesh by right-clicking on it, selecting Rename, and typing the original name into the box. In our example, it is pants_0, and then hit enter or click OK. Now, using Shift or Control click, select both the size 0 meshes in the right-hand pane. Mouse over either one, right-click, and then select Export and to NIF. Navigate to where you want to save the new pants NIF. And if you're following along with me, I'm going to save this in the demo mod folder like I've done for everything else. And let's just call it shorts_0 for now. So that's our size 0 NIF all done, and now we need to do the same thing for size 1. It is very important, though, not to unload the project or close Outfit Studio right now. That's because the mask that we have saved will disappear when the project is closed. So we have to apply the mask, delete vertices, and export the new NIF for the size 1 mesh before unloading the project or closing Outfit Studio. Since we are done with the size 0 pants, we can delete those meshes from the project. But remember, don't do this using unload project as we have in previous videos, or you will lose the saved mask. Instead, just select all of the meshes and hit the delete key on your keyboard, or go to Shape, Delete, and hit Yes at the confirmation window. Now we have to delete exactly the same vertices on the size 1 pants using our saved mask to select them first. Load the pants_1 NIF into Outfit Studio and select the pants mesh, but not the leg band. Prepare the size 1 mesh for the mask by giving it exactly the same name as the mesh we saved the mask on, which in our case was just the name pants. If we don't do this, then applying the mask won't work. Assuming you've been following along with me, we need to right-click on the size 1 pants mesh, select Rename, type pants into the box, and hit enter or click OK. So we've got our size 1 pants renamed to match the name of the size 0 mesh that we used when we saved the mask. As long as we use the same exact mesh name for the saved mask, and we've not closed Outfit Studio or unloaded the project, then the saved mask should be available in the mask drop-down list, and it should apply itself to the new mesh when you select it. So with the pants mesh selected, click the little arrow for the mask drop-down list and select your final mask from the options listed. If everything was done correctly, the mask should automatically apply to the size 1 pants mesh. If it does not apply or it doesn't look right, then it's likely because either 1. The mesh name is not identical to the mesh name used when you saved the mask, or 2. The mesh you are trying to apply the saved mask to does not have exactly the same vertices in exactly the same order as the mesh that was used to save the mask. The first problem is easy to solve as long as you can remember the name you used. If you did not change the size 0 mesh name, you can always try the original name to see if this fixes the issue. If that doesn't work, you may have to start over from the beginning, taking note this time of the name that the mesh had when you saved the mask. The second problem should not be an issue for the demo mod pieces unless you've done something really exciting with the meshes in there. Unfortunately, if mismatching size 0 and size 1 meshes is your issue, then there isn't much you can do until you fix that. Fixing mismatched size 0 and size 1 NIFs will probably require you to choose one of those sizes and then remake the other size from it. And we won't be covering how to do that until way later in the series. So my suggestion for now is that you try again, starting with the NIF that you know weight slides perfectly fine in the game. With the saved mask applied to the size 1 pants, you should now have exactly the same vertices selected as we did for the size 0 pants. And now we can delete them just like we did before. Go to Shape, Delete Vertices, and poof again, we've got another new pair of shorts. Clear the masking from this mesh using Clear Mask from the Tools menu, and then check to make sure it all looks good. All that's left now in Outfit Studio is to export our completed size 1 NIF. Before we do, let's be consistent and rename the size 1 mesh back to its original name. Right-click on the mesh, select Rename, then type the original into the box. For this tutorial, it should be pants_1, and then hit Enter or click OK. With that done, select both of the size 1 meshes using Shift or Control-click, then right-click and export to NIF. Save this wherever you saved the size 0 pants using exactly the same name except with the suffix 1 instead of 0. So I'm going to name this shorts_1. Checking your meshes in NifSkope is not a hard requirement, but I strongly suggest taking a moment to do it because it's quick and it can save you time in the long run. If you have any trouble with this step, please refer back to video number 6 of this tutorial series. Double-click on the size 0 file and the size 1 file to open them both up and line the NifSkope windows up next to each other. Make sure the new meshes look like they should and that the two mesh pieces in this NIF are in the same order for the size 0 and size 1 files. If you need to reorder any mesh pieces, use the cut and paste method as shown in the Intro to NifSkope video. Another useful thing to check in NifSkope is the vertex count for both size meshes. This should help us to confirm that the masking worked to select exactly the same vertices. Expand the Pants BS Try shape, then expand BS Dismember Skin instance. Select Nye Skin Partition, and then in the lower pane, expand the partition block twice. Here you can see a vertex count and a triangle count. Make sure those are identical in both the size 0 and size 1 NIFs. And if your mesh has multiple partitions, it's a good idea to check all of them to see that each one matches between the two size NIFs. If the vertex count or triangle count do not match between the two sizes, you will probably have issues with these NIFs in the game. I suggest rewinding and starting over at the beginning of this tutorial to see if it works better the second time around. If you leave the size 0 and size 1 NIFs mismatched, you will almost certainly have problems with weight sliding in the game. When you are done, close out the NifSkope windows and then close Outfit Studio. After checking the files in NifSkope and fixing anything if necessary, it's time to put these NIFs into the game to test. If you're working along with me, let's temporarily replace the pants in the demo mod with these shorts that we just made so we can see how they look. To do this, we just need to rename our new shorts meshes. But we don't want to overwrite the pants permanently because we will definitely be using them again. So let's temporarily rename the size 0 pants to long_pants_0, then rename our new shorts mesh to pants_0 so the game will use them instead. And then do the same for the size 1 NIFs. And that's it. We are ready to test it out in the game. So we made our new NIFs, we've checked them in NifSkope, and we renamed them to replace the original files in the demo mod. Now it's time to see these shorts in the game. Hop into Skyrim, load up a female character if you're following along with me, and use the console to add the demo pants to your inventory, if you don't already have a copy from a previous video. I suggest also getting the matching top if you don't already have that, since it will have the UNP body included that these shorts are made for. If you have any trouble during this step or would like to learn more about testing in the game, please see tutorial number 7 in this series. Open up Race menu and check the weight sliding. If we did this right, the shorts should weight slide properly. If things look really weird, skip ahead to the Troubleshooting section. And remember that if you have body seams, it's probably just a body mod mismatch that you can ignore for now. Normally, I would do a full testing routine as explained in the Testing in Skyrim video. However, for the sake of time, I will cut this short, pun intended, since we mostly just want to confirm that weight sliding works properly after our vertex deletions. Let's go over a couple of things that could have gone wrong with your new NIFs. If your meshes are in a different order for the size 0 versus size 1 pants NIF, then you might see this. Mesh order is an easy fix. Just go back out of the game, open up both the files in NifSkope, and use the block cutting and pasting routine to reorder the meshes, as shown in video number 6 of this series. If you're sure the order of the meshes is correct and you still see something like this, then it probably means you did not delete exactly the same vertices from the size 0 and size 1 NIFs. It might be that you saved multiple different masks and applied a different one to the size 0 versus size 1 NIF. So just be very careful to save your final mask as a really obvious name so that you don't confuse yourself. Beyond that, I'm not sure what else might have happened, so I suggest you start over again from the beginning and give it another try. How did this little trick work out for you? I'm hoping that you got it to work successfully even if it took a few tries. This technique is a great way to ensure that you are changing identical vertices between the size 0 and size 1 meshes, and it's pretty quick once you get the hang of it. You can use this technique for any two matching meshes, even the body itself. As long as the meshes have the same number and order of vertices, which they should if they weight slide properly or if they are direct copies of each other, then this should work. Just remember the same name requirement for applying a saved mask, and don't unload the project or close Outfit Studio in between saving and applying it. If you can't get this method to work, there is another way to delete vertices and still end up with a successful weight sliding outfit. You would simply delete them from one size outfit NIF and then remake the other size outfit NIF from that one. We will go over how to do this when we get to making body conversions a bit farther down the road. I hope you enjoyed working through this exercise with me and that it adds to your success in modifying outfits. We're going to use this method again in upcoming videos, so you'll get even more practice with it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye!